Hauntcast.
Haunting Halloween and horror. Terror Tech with Dexter Morgan.
Well, hello everyone and welcome to Terror Tech, your gateway to cutting-edge technology that brings chills and thrills to life. I'm Dexter Morgan, former pro haunter, escape room owner and designer, and all-around tech junkie. Come and join me today as we unmask the secrets behind your favorite frights, from simple standalone prop control to full show control systems and everything in between. Ready to dive into the darkness? Let's begin. Alright, so today we're taking a look at an extremely cool sequencer-type controller from a company called Terrorbyte Electronics LLC. That's Terrorbyte, B-Y-T-E. And it is called the Scream Relay. It has 4 onboard relays, it has 2 trigger inputs, it has 4 network triggers, it has 30 watts of continuous sound, it's mono, crystal clear, plays back your MP3s, your waves. It has an ambient audio playback feature, so it'll play back an ambient audio track when your show is not playing. It also has, and this is one of the really cool things, wireless networking between multiple controllers. That means you have one controller that is set up as a master, and it broadcasts on 2.4 gigahertz wireless, and it will trigger other controllers to start their actions. It is really cool. 450 feet of line of sight range. And of course, this is going to depend on where you have it mounted. It has easy pushback recordings. It has another really cool feature, which is a locking switch to prevent accidentally overwriting shows. It comes standard with a 32 gigabyte micro SD card, and if you are so inclined and you are of the programming type, it is MicroPython extension API included for advanced users, which means you can actually write your own code and upload it to this controller. Another really cool feature of the Scream Relay is that there are 4 push buttons on the upper right-hand corner of the controller. Now, these will activate the relays, however, they also double in function. Button 1 and 2 will allow you to trigger tracks 1 and 2, and button 3 and 4 actually are volume up and volume down. So it's really cool that they've made these things a little bit dual duty and have not covered the controller with buttons. Now, recording on the Scream Relay is ridiculously simple. First, you make sure that the right lock switch on top is in the unlocked position. This will allow you to save the recording. Then you press the record button. When you do, you'll see a green light flashing showing you're in recording mode. Now you will press either button 1 or button 2, showing which track you'd like to record, and then you will start pressing the relay buttons and recording your track. When you're finished, you can either pause and wait for a period of time that you've predetermined. This will allow you to have almost a lockout until the program goes again, if you're going to play it continuously. Or you just simply press the record button one more time, and it will now exit recording mode. Now you can test your track immediately by pressing your trigger, whichever one you decided, whether it was 1 or 2, and you will immediately see what you just programmed play back. If that's all you wanted to do, then immediately grab that right lock switch and put it in the locked position. This will keep you from accidentally recording over that track. And that's pretty much it. That's all it takes to record onto a Scream Relay. It is very simple. It is very straightforward. Now, let's talk about something more advanced, and that is using networked controllers working together. This is what I think is really cool about these controllers. You can set one controller aside as your transmitter or sender, and you can set the rest of them as receivers. So you will have one controller that is sending the signal to start all of the other controllers. Here's how that works. Make sure you record all of your programs on your receiving controllers first. The way you're going to do that, obviously make sure that the network switch is unlocked. You're going to hold the network button down and press the record button. When you do, all 4 numbered buttons will start flashing blue. Press a numbered button to select the network trigger track that you would like to record. So if you're making sure that your first one is network channel 1, then press the network 1 button. Press the numbered buttons to record your animation in real time. Remember, each number button corresponds with the same numbered relay, and pressing the button will cause the relay to close. Now press the record button again to finish the recording process. Make sure that you do this for every receiving controller, and you can switch which network they are going to be on. Now keep in mind, this is a network trigger. So you'll understand that in just a minute if you're confused. So now make sure that the record lock switch is unlocked for this next step. Do not immediately lock all of the receivers. Keep them unlocked. Now we're going to look at recording the sending controller. Now the sending controller is the one that has a trigger physically attached to it. Recording the sending animations is the same as recording, except that you can send triggers wirelessly during the animation. Very, very cool stuff. Here's how you do it. Ensure that the lock switch is unlocked. Press the record button. The recordable trigger tracks will start flashing green. Press a number button to select the trigger track that you would like to record. Again, either 1 or 2. Now press the number buttons to record your animation in real time, just like you did before when you were just recording one of the receiving units. However, at any time during the recording of the animation, hold the network button and press the number button to send a network trigger. In other words, that sends a signal to that network, which you programmed on the other controllers, to go. So, if you recorded the receiving animation to network trigger track 1, make sure that while you're holding down the network button, you press button 1. If you recorded to network trigger track 2, make sure you hold down button 2, etc. Now press the record button again to finish the recording process. Now, again, if you'd like to add a cooldown period, just give it however much time you want before it repeats the cycle. And then press the record button to stop recording. Now, test out your animation. Press the trigger track and watch the controller go. At what point you sent a network signal, you should then see your receiving controller immediately start to carry out its programming. Now, remember, your receiving controllers will only receive the network trigger during recording if their record lock is in the unlocked position. Now remember, the receiving controller will only receive the network trigger during the recording if the record lock is in the unlocked position. That's why I said make sure do not lock your receiving units until after you've programmed the sending unit. Also, a single network trigger number can trigger multiple receiving controllers simultaneously. So in other words, if you've set up a whole bunch of controllers to work on network trigger 1, you only have to send network trigger 1 and they will all receive the command and start at the same time. Likewise, a sending controller can send different network trigger numbers to different controllers at different times. So just because at one part of your track on the sending unit you sent the signal to network 1, let's say, maybe 30 seconds down the road you can send another one to network 3, and then another one to network 4. Extremely cool stuff. Once an animation is recorded, it is locked into the receiving controllers, and new controllers added later will not automatically pick up the sent network triggers. This means that you can reuse the same network track number multiple times without accidentally triggering a controller in a different room. Once recorded, you can be confident that only the controllers that responded during the recording of your sending unit will ever respond in the future. All right, now let's talk about sound. This thing has onboard amplified sound, which is really cool. It comes standard with a 32 gigabyte micro SD card to load all of your sounds and ambient tracks. So, you load your waves, your MP3s, whatever digital format you have onto these cards, and then you rename the tracks. That's how you get it to work properly. It's very, very simple. And there's a guide on their website that shows you exactly how to name them. So let's take, for example, the sounds that you want to play when nothing is happening, just the controller's on and you have an ambient track. You're going to name that track ambient underscore and then a number 1 through 99. Now it's going to be played automatically and in sequence. So if ambient track 1 ends and you have an ambient track 2 on there, it will now proceed to track 2. If not, it will just loop and play the same one. Very, very cool. You can also set them to be random. So you can name it random underscore ambient underscore and then a number 1 through 9. It will now randomize those when an animation is triggered. It also has a network trigger, so you can trigger this through the wireless network like we were talking about a few minutes ago, simply by naming it network underscore trigger underscore and then 1 through 4. So you can literally trigger the sound through the network. And then, of course, there's the sounds you want to be played when you play your track, which would be trigger 1 or trigger 2. So you just name them trigger underscore and then 1 or 2. When the controller is triggered, it will automatically start your sound file. All right, so here's my take on the Scream Relay from Terrorbyte Electronics LLC. This thing has awesome features. It is very user-friendly, very straightforward, easy to program, and without a doubt, probably some of the best bang for the buck that you're going to find. This unit retails for $99. I have not seen too many controllers that are as feature-rich as this, that are as economical as this. So without a doubt, guys, bravo. I really, really enjoy this controller. The documentation on their website for how to program everything is very concise, it's very easy to follow, and it's very easy to find. Now, in an effort to be transparent, I will admit that they supplied me with this controller for this review. Having said that, I am not the type of person that would give a good review if it was not warranted, even if they donated the product for me to review. So you are getting an honest review here. I think this is an awesome controller. I'm actually looking forward to getting a couple more so I can network them together, which is just such a cool feature. So that about wraps up this episode of Terror Tech. I'd like to thank Terrorbyte Electronics LLC for providing the controller for this review, and I think that without a doubt, it is worth your consideration if you're looking for a solid, feature-rich, standalone prop controller. Thank you guys very much. We'll see you next time on Terror Tech.
Please follow the podcast. Give us a 5-star review. Stalk us on social media. Links in the description. And visit our blog page for more show info at hauntcastpodcast.net/blog. Until next time, stay scary.
Go ahead. Go on, there's the door. You can do better. Let's see how far you get.